everybody. My name is Julius, and I am here with a guest. Who is it?
I'm Daniel. What's up? From
It
the
is
show No One Asked
Daniel.
For. How you doing?
The show that no one asked for. You're here again.
Mhm.
Daniel, are you ready to talk about some horror movies?
Let's do it.
It,
Let's
it
do it.
it's
Season,
when
right?
the,
So
what?
it's the season, so we got to get into it, right?
It's the season. When these videos come out, it will be October, and we will be releasing videos daily about different horror movies because who doesn't love horror movies during October? This is the time where they're lively, where they're twilighting, where we need
Oh,
them.
let's go. Let's go.
So before anything, Daniel, I want you to tell me how you look at the horror genre. I want you to tell me about how it's affected you in the past, whether you've been really scared or you just love watching them. So go ahead, tell me and the audience, what do you think about horror?
Well, I think like everybody, or most people, especially cinema buffs, love horror, and
Mhm.
it's like that thing where you have a few of your favorite movies that are in that genre, right? And for me, I Halloween's like my favorite holiday. So horror is right into that. Getting into watching all the movies around the season is my thing. I love doing that. Um, so yeah, it's definitely a genre that I liked. It's almost similar to no, actually no, it's not similar to this. But you know how like westerns back in the day were like the comic book genre today. It's like
Yeah,
it's I feel like horror kind of is like that where you can make it quickly. You can so you have a lot of bad horror movies. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And because they're easy to make, you can just do jump scares and stuff like that. But when you get really good horror movies, it's 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 spectacular. It's really a thing because it really makes you feel that emotion. You know what I mean? The
yeah,
fear or whatever it is. So it puts you in the movie, whether you're saying don't go in the door or you actually feel like you're the one about to go in the door. You know what I mean? Um,
absolutely.
for me, uh, I was a Jason guy. If we, like Jason or Freddy, I was a Jason guy. I liked the slasher versus the dream sequence. You know what I mean? I don't
Mhm.
know, the dream kind of guys. I don't know. I like the guys that came in and just freaking started slashing everything. I kind of like that. Um, but that being said, not that Candyman didn't do this, but Candyman was kind of a mix of both, right? A slasher and a in your head kind of thing. So Candyman, when that came out, when I was younger, that was for the longest time, until recently when I rewatched it, I was like, what? This scared me? But that movie
Yeah,
terrified me. Like I would watch Jason for fun and be like, and
yeah.
these heads flying and
The
bodies.
dumb teenagers, the
Yeah,
cabins.
that's cool. I'm down
Yeah.
with that, right? But the thing that actually terrified me, had me looking over my shoulder when I was walking down the street, was Candyman.
Mhm.
That definitely Candyman, and it's crazy because I haven't seen the remake. The remake that just came out or is gonna come out or
I think it's
something.
coming out,
It's
starring
coming out. Okay, it's coming
It's
out.
starring
Yeah,
the guy who played Black Panther or I'm sorry, Black Manta.
oh, nice, nice.
Yaya, I think his name is.
And he's good. He was
Yeah.
great as Black Manta, I thought, in Aquaman.
Oh, he was
So
perfect
yeah, he
as
was awesome.
yeah.
So
It was Tony Robbins who played Candyman, right? The guy
who?
from Tony Robbins, he played Candyman originally
It was the guy with that
from
voice.
Final Destination, right?
Yes, yes, him.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is Tony Robbins his name, or am I
I
thinking of
don't.
someone else?
I think Tony Robbins is that motivational speaker guy.
Oh, it was him.
Definitely not.
It was him.
It was.
If you want to cause murders, you just go out there. You don't stop.
Don't stop! Don't stop! But yeah, Candyman was terrifying to
Tony
me.
Todd, that's his name.
There we go.
Tony
There we go.
Todd.
But yeah, those kind of movies. More recently, now as I'm getting older, or as an adult, the movies that I don't really get scared of horror movies or movies in general. I know they're movies, right?
Yeah,
So they don't really scare me. So for me, it's more about the atmosphere that the movie can create.
right.
So movies like Hereditary now are my favorite type of horror movies.
I watched
I
that
like.
yesterday.
Oh man, I love whoever directed that is amazing. I think
Uh,
they did an
Ari
amazing job.
Aster, he directed it.
Okay, yeah, he did great. I think I mean, I think that was all calculated, right? I mean, the way
Yeah.
to create that kind of uneasy feeling the entire time.
Really
Oh,
precise way of getting the scares out of people that doesn't necessarily come down to like a jump scare like you mentioned,
right.
like I think that's the modern trait of the modern I mean horror movies in general, since the beginning, but it feels like it's limited the creativity of what a horror movie can do. And something like Hereditary, or maybe even like something as extreme as Mandy, they're pushing atmosphere now,
Right. It's more
yeah,
about that
yeah,
versus the jump scare or the kill count, right?
and that's more effective for sure.
I think so. I like
Mhm.
it a lot better. I think it puts me more in the film nowadays. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and
But
it
the movies that I do like that are that way. Drag Me to Hell, Evil Dead, like the Sam Raimi type movies and the slashers and all those. I'm still down to watch those. That's why horror's so great. You can still
yeah,
pop it in any day in October, and you're gonna have a good time with whoever you're sitting with. You know what I mean? It's gonna be fun.
yeah.
So
Absolutely, and it's a cool parallel that you brought up the horror, or the Western genre, because it feels like the Western genre. I mean, it's almost gone at this point in film, and but it had such a prominent time within cinema, and now superheroes are definitely taking that place, if you
mhm,
will, in terms of like the hero that we're all trying to emulate through movies.
right.
Horror has never really gone through that phase of being phased out
Mhm,
there, because fear is always going to exist, and there's
mhm,
going to be different things to grab that from the audience, different ideas from great directors like Ari Aster with Hereditary, or Midsummer recently.
mhm,
I
mhm,
mean, it's really cool that horror will it'll just keep happening,
mhm. Yeah, it's gonna happen forever, and it kind of is. You mentioned the Western, and off topic a little bit, but my favorite movie of all time is The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Is a Western. So yeah, it sucks that we just don't keep getting Westerns, because I'd be stepping into town gunslinging ready all the time if there was movies like that all the time. I mean, 310 to
The good
Yuma,
old
that's
boy.
old. 310 to Yuma's old. Unforgiven. Now I remember that was like a modern Western when I was a kid. And that
Mhm.
was like a modern Western that blew everyone's mind. Tombstone, same deal, was a modern Western. Now is a classic. And, it's crazy.
Hey man, we got Logan a couple years back.
Hey, that was a really cool, that was like a neo-Western, right? I
Yeah.
mean, now, I don't know if you've seen Hell or High Water. Have you seen
Oh
that?
yeah.
Oh, man.
That counts absolutely.
That's
That
a
counts.
neo-Western, right? I
Yeah.
mean, and wow, fantastic. That's one
Yeah.
of my favorite movies. That's on my top movies of all time for sure. That director too. That director is killing it too, or writer, or whoever the heck is making those movies. Hell or High Water, Wind River.
Oh, Wind River counts for sure,
Yeah,
dude.
that's also a neo-Western too,
Even
right?
though it's in the snow, it counts and we also got Hateful Eight, which I mean that's definitely, even though it's more of a bottle film, I mean they're
Right,
cowboys in it.
right,
We'll
right, right.
take it. We'll take
We'll
it,
take it. Yeah. Actually, I know a lot of people didn't like this. I heard a lot of hate for it, but I liked
The
the
Ballad
Ballad
of
of Buster.
Buster
Yeah,
Scruggs.
Buster Scruggs. I loved it. I had a good time. I felt like I was flipping through comic books. You know what I mean? That's how I felt like.
Yeah, I only watched a little bit of it, but
Okay.
the fact that it was available, it actually inspired me to go back and watch True Grit, the other Western the Coen brothers did, the remake of the John Wayne film,
And it's good.
and it's really good. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
when
good.
he says that shit, fill your hands, you son of a bit. Like that's probably one of the best lines, most underrated lines in film for sure.
I mean, right now it's funny because we just talked about how Westerns dying out, and then we're naming all these Westerns. But Hostels with Christian Bale. If you
Okay,
if you have not seen that, watch it. I think it's on Netflix still. I'm not sure, but if you haven't seen that, watch it tonight. You could thank
tonight.
me later. Just send me a
Oh, I
text.
will.
Yeah,
I'll shoot the text. You said Bale. That's enough.
yeah, but oh man, and he kills it in that. The story is great. And they model it. What's really cool is the formula in which they took to make that film is kind of like the old school westerns. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Nothing too crazy complicated. It's you know what I'm saying, but it still
absolutely.
has layers. It's and they take long drawn out scenes to kind of make you feel it. I don't know. I think it's a great film, and you know, some of those films that, like you said, it's dying out, and even, you know, people miss out because these are good films, but because it's dying out, people just don't even look that way. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Yeah.
Mandalorian, I think, counts as a modern western.
Oh, come on, of course. I mean, that's it. Let's go.
Okay, now I could talk about westerns all day,
All
but
day.
we're here to talk about horror movies all day.
Let's do it.
So the first one we're going to talk about, I mean, come on, we got The Grudge, 2004.
Juicy.
It's a remake of another film called Joan. I think it's called Ju-on The Grudge, Japanese horror. That director was Takeshi Shimizu,
Okay.
and he actually directs both the original and the remake from 2004, which
Wow.
was, I thought, was really interesting. And this was actually produced by Sam Raimi. So you can only imagine, since Sam Raimi is like one of the godfathers of horror, you know, at least what it is nowadays.
Yes.
I can only imagine he watched the original and loved it and said, we got to make a new one. We got to do that. I got to put my name on this new one, you know? So what do you want to tell the people what The Grudge actually is about?
Yeah, so The Grudge, if I can remember correctly, it's isn't it I forgot the name of the spirit, but it's a spirit that's like that's caused from brutal rage. So like let's
Yeah.
say there's like a crazy murder in a house that was really brutal. This spirit will kind of like emerge in that place where it happened. And then what happens is whoever steps into that place is now affected by that spirit. So the
Yeah.
spirit will attach itself to whoever is in whoever steps into that place where the spirit resides, and will torment the person until they kill them, right? Until they die. So yeah, Ju-on is probably my favorite one out of the whole Grudge franchise, I guess.
Saga.
Yeah, saga, if you call it. Yeah, my favorite is Ju-on for sure. But that's what The Grudge is apparently, right? And then this the samurai the remake, The Grudge. Wait, because isn't there? Oh yes. So there's Ju-on, and then The Grudge is the remake with Sam Raimi, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
The original was called Ju-on The Grudge, and this new one they just took the Ju-on out and stuck to The Grudge.
And that one was Sarah Michelle Gellar, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So
And
yeah.
Bill Pullman, I think
Bill
he's also in
Pullman,
it.
right, he is in it. Yes, that's crazy.
For like 5 minutes.
Yeah, you know, let's go. But yeah, so that's what happens. And then I know there's a Grudge 2.
Yeah.
And then
I didn't see any of the sequels. Did you see them?
I saw the most recent remake of The Grudge. So not of the Ju-on, but there's a remake of, or a continuation, or no, I think it's a remake of The Grudge.
Of the American one.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So what happens is this lady who is tormented in the house where Ju-on exists.
Yeah.
She comes back to the States, and the spirit comes with her. She ends up committing this crazy murder because of the spirit, and then now the spirit is there in this place, and then you know, sorry, you know, spoilers.
No, it's all cool. It's cool. How does she get there? Is it like through like a boat? Does she get on a plane?
No, it's just
something?
a plane. It starts off with her at the house, and you can recognize her right away. I mean, the opening scene is the house from The Grudge and Ju-on or whatever. You already know, so you're watching. You're like, oh, that's the house. And then this lady, she comes out and she's on the phone and she's like, I just have to come home. No, you don't understand. I think she's talking to her boss. I guess she has a job in Japan. And then she's like, no, I have to go home. You don't understand. I have to get out of here. I have to leave. I have to be with my family. Oh, okay, cool. Goes with the family. And then, you know, horror ensues, I guess, you know. And then it's kind of like a time jumpy type of thing. And then it ends up saying that everybody is tied in a time loop together. Anybody who interacts with this spirit is kind of like bound together through time, you know.
Okay.
So because what happens is you start seeing there's all these people. This cop is investigating this recent murder, but then the recent murder, the recent like crazy deaths are linked to this other previous owners that were in that house. I don't know. It's hard to explain. You gotta watch it, but it's all right. It's cool. You can put it on. It's a cool little popcorn flick. You know what I mean? It's not.
Yeah, well, with the original, I guess not the original, but the American version from 2004, were you a fan of that? Is that the type of horror that you're interested in, the mystery horror?
Okay, so no, I
Mm,
wasn't a fan. I went to go see
me
it in the
neither.
theater. Yeah, I wasn't a
Yeah.
fan. I was bored. I remember being excited for it because I
Mm.
had seen Ju-on and Sam Raimi and all. I was like, all right, let's go. Let's
Oh,
see how.
and you like Juan?
I like Ju-on. Yeah, I thought
Okay,
Ju-on is pretty good. I don't hate it, and
right.
I don't freaking love it, but yeah, when I saw it, I was like, yeah, all right, it's whatever.
I've heard that it's
Um,
told in a non-linear story.
Yes,
Okay,
yes, yes. Similar to the way this new one is. That's what I appreciate. Kind of, they try to go back to that.
I see. Okay.
So that's kind of why I really again, I don't really love this new one, but it's pretty cool. It wasn't bad.
Yeah, it's at least sticking to what made the first one
Exactly,
special, what it is.
exactly. That shows self-awareness, which I guess
Mhm.
as a fan you can appreciate if you're a fan of Ju-on, The Grudge, and stuff like that. And that's the cool thing about horror, right? That's the cool thing about horror just in general when we're talking about horror is how movies can suck. The horror genre, a franchise that you like, can suck real bad, and you still love it. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, I mean,
I'm
look at
sure,
Friday the 13th.
yeah, or the Chucky franchise. I'm
Yeah.
sure Chucky has a bunch of fans, right?
Oh
And
yeah.
and Chucky franchise has like what, two okay movies? You know what I mean? But people
Yeah.
love Chucky. It's just a thing, and that's what's cool about horror is that there's something for everybody, and whatever. But yeah, I was not a fan. I left and I was like, okay, that was boring, and I wasn't scared. That was the other thing. I wasn't scared, which is I was young. It should have scared me. I don't know. I thought it should have scared me. It
The
didn't.
imagery alone would lead you to think that, okay, this is going to be kind of like this kid spirit. He
Mhm.
does the wide-eyed, like,
Mhm.
that type of look on his face. He's
Yes.
completely dead. But
Right.
I mean, that look on his face only is scary for so long
Right.
because the rest of the film is Sarah Michelle Gellar walking
Yes.
around,
Yes.
helping some old people, this weird mystery that isn't terribly fascinating.
Yeah.
You know
I
what I
wasn't
mean?
in it. I wasn't in it. It didn't really it didn't hold my interest. Grudge 2, I remember watching it once or twice and thinking, this one's a little bit better than the first one. I think just because I was more, I don't even remember it, so maybe not, because I do remember the first one. I don't remember the second one, but I remember seeing it and then thinking to myself, like, more happened. You know what I
Or
mean?
happened, yeah.
More happened, so I guess it's better. I don't know, but maybe it's not because I don't remember anything about it. It's like I didn't see it.
What
But
happened in that movie? But what did happen?
yeah, what did
Uh,
it happen? That's what. But again, I still, if they come out with a Grudge 2 to this one, you know what I mean? Or
yeah.
I'm gonna watch it. It's the Grudge. Same thing with the Ring. I've watched all those Ringu, Ring, Ring 2, all those,
Yeah.
even the. I have a thing though for a long time. I remember when I was in high school, I had a homie. I mean, I was already kind of into these movies, but my homie was super into like B, C, D horror movies, like
Yeah.
made with the old like VHS tape type things. Like, dude, they were real bad, but for some reason me and him could sit there and we'd just pop in one tape and be like, like laugh, and it's supposed to be horror and they're so bad, so much blood or bad quality, and
Naked women, all
yeah,
that.
yeah, exactly, the gore stuff, all that stuff, and it was just like random stories, random lines, random scenes,
It's just random.
random everything, and I don't know why. It was funny, it was hilarious, and sometimes just uneasy, like The Fiend or Cannibal Holocaust, things
Oh
like
yeah.
that, where they're those are like B horror movies, but they're like some of the most intense horror movies you'll ever see. And I think when you're thinking about horror, and if you think about horror like okay, this isn't scaring me anymore, you look for the uneasiness that a movie can kind of create. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
No, I completely agree. I think that this movie fails in atmosphere. You know, it's
Mhm.
funny that we're talking about Hereditary. You know, these movies that don't really have many, I mean, they have some disturbing imagery, but
Right.
what really gets you involved, like actually looking around your corner at night,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, it's what they set up in that world, you know, and I
You
feel
know,
like of any horror movie from that time, this needed to do that. You know, it had to amplify it because you have these normal looking settings and this creepy kid, make that work to your advantage. But like, don't, I mean, take out the mystery, lower the budget, and just use the atmosphere, honestly.
and you're talking about Sam Raimi, right? We're talking about him, and
Right.
he's more successful in other films.
Yeah,
You
other types of horror films.
know,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. He's more successful, and even if we compare a movie where it's kind of a mix,
Right.
so like you're looking for something that's like Evil Dead, where it's all that type of gore, and there's it's not really jump scares, it's just kind of imagery, and it's
It's
supposed to
cartoony.
be cartoony, yeah,
Yeah.
like you're watching Saturday morning cartoons, right? I feel like The Grudge was supposed to be his Hereditary, right? And then Drag Me to Hell was right in between. It's like a mix of that cartoony, but then also the Hereditary, where he tries to, like, Sam Raimi version, where there's like subtleties, you know what I mean? But there's also the kind of like absurd, the old lady sucking on the girl's face and stuff like that, you know. So there's
That's
like
part of the movie.
this, but it mixes both of them, and I feel like he's more successful there. I think when he's only relying on not not having any of the blood splatters or none of that, it's difficult for him to work. I think, you know what I'm saying?
Well,
Um.
certainly with, I think if Raimi was the one to actually direct this,
Oh,
you
right,
know,
right.
we probably would have gotten a much different, probably better, because he'd probably
Right,
get a better writer, you know,
right.
to do The Grudge. But one
Uh-huh.
thing I'm curious about, since you've actually watched the original Ju-on,
Mhm.
and you said that it's better, what I find fascinating is that this is the same director. So where do you think he faulted? And is the story even similar at all, to the original?
It's similar in that there's brutality, and it's the same spirit.
Okay.
There is a girl that's tormented. I don't remember the last time I saw Ju-on. I mean, it was a long time ago. But
Was there
yeah, it,
anything
it
that
is
like
similar.
noticeable?
No, because the Ju-on, I liked the thing that you notice is that the non-linear story,
Right.
that's kind of like the thing that puts you down, but I feel like that's what's weird, right? Because you're saying it's the same director. It's
Yeah.
so weird because he's doing the same scenes, the same kind of like not exactly the same, but he's going for the same thing,
Right.
and in one you actually, like, for example, you'll have that girl spirit, right? And there's little subtleties, like, or nuances during the film that uses her, right? And for some reason in Ju-on, you're wondering what the heck that was. You're like, I know
Yeah.
that's her, but I'm wondering, and you're like, but for some reason in this other one, I don't know why I wasn't even put in the first place. I tried to, but I never got strapped in my seat. With Ju-on, I did. And I don't know if that was because of the non-linear story, so it forced me to pay attention. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It forced me to, like, wait, what's going on?
Like, what is going on here?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
then I had to really, not I didn't have to take notes, but you can't just, I can't just pop. It's not one of those. So
Mhm.
then you start paying attention a little bit more, and I think because it's a foreign film, you're paying attention, and it's kind of, it just maybe that might just be it. It just that it's a foreign film, and the way that kind of atmosphere is set up in a foreign film is more indie, more scary for some reason. I don't
Well, I
know.
think I think it's because foreign film is not going to deal with a lot of the hangups that a lot of American horror films do. Because like they're marketing to like teenagers, October. We can't go too crazy because we don't want to lose money because we're gonna get complaints and all that stuff. I mean, I feel like that's shifting now with. We brought up Hereditary and Midsummer, but back then in the early 2000s, I mean, they, like you said, these are easy to make relatively, and we can
Right,
just
right,
pop them out, make our money
right.
back.
Why not?
Why
Yeah,
not? Yeah, why take a chance?
they're cheap and you can make your money back quickly. I mean, now I don't know with COVID and all that stuff, but
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see.
but yeah, it's it's crazy. I don't know why it didn't really execute. I never with the story. I'm like, okay, I get it. I'm gonna have to pay attention. And I try to pay attention. Okay, I get it. It's gonna be a little slow and it's gonna set up the scares for later. But they just never paid off in the Grudge. I want to say.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There was no payoff, and not that in Ju-on there was really a big payoff. It just kind of. I'm more embedded in the story. So if we're comparing the two, again, I didn't love Ju-on, but if we're comparing it to the Grudge,
Yeah.
yeah, and that would be my assumption or my assertion. It would be that studio execs got in the way of the director's vision. Either that or the director didn't want to make the exact same film, so tried to make it like a little bit different, and it didn't really come out too well. You know what I mean?
That's a shame, and it's a very bizarre situation. It's probably why whenever they remake something, they just like say, okay, that thing previously, that's what it was. Let's do our own thing now, you know?
So, but did you ever see Ringu or Ring?
The Ring. I
Yeah.
have yet to see Ringu or The Ring. Now, I feel like, especially, I think my idea is enforced due to this conversation is that those are probably more of the faces of Japanese horror, like Ringu, more so than The Grudge. You know,
Right.
I have not seen it, but are they? Do you think they're better in achieving it?
Uh, yes, yes, and I would say like if I'm comparing Ringu to Ju-on, I
Yeah,
was again I don't get scared. These are movies, right? I don't get scared. I don't like when I go to sleep. I don't have trouble sleeping. I can watch a movie, a horror movie right before hitting the pillow, and it's fine with me. Um, But if we're comparing the two and we're talking about horror and what the goal is, I would say that Ringu does it better, and then Ju-on,
hmm
and then Ring is I feel it was better than The Grudge, or at least the original. You know what I mean?
yeah.
I thought it was better. So
Definitely has a more interesting concept. You know,
right, right, right.
Probably more original, you know, seeing this videotape and then you die
Mhm.
somehow after watching it. Like
Yeah,
that's kind of creepy.
yeah, it is a trip. It's a trip. But
Here,
yeah,
let,
it's but yeah, I would give that battle to Ringu and Ring.
who would win?
Who would win?
Ringu or The Grudge?
Put gloves on the DVDs and see what happens.
No holds bar. Let me ask you a movie question about The Grudge.
Sure.
Uh, and this is kind of reflective of how I feel about the movie. What is a horror movie that you wish had scared you, that you watched and you wish was actually frightening?
Ooh, that I watched and I wished scared me.
Yeah, I feel like I know the answer,
Uh,
but you go ahead.
so one that hits me epically, like epically, that I'm like I wish scared the heck out of me.
Yeah.
And this is really frustrating. It was Paranormal
I
Activity.
knew it. I knew it. I knew it.
It's Paranormal Activity for sure. For sure. And I don't know if you people were around when Paranormal Activity was coming out, but when they advertised it, the marketing for that film was very, very good.
Oh yeah.
Whoever marketed
Oh
that
yeah.
film or produced or whoever the heck,
Genius.
the genius,
Yeah.
the genius, show nothing of the movie. Show nothing of the movie. Only it's a jump scare movie
Yeah.
with no jump scares. So you're just sitting and you're waiting for jump scares until the last 5 minutes of the movie. So you're literally staring at real estate footage. It's crazy. You're
Yeah.
staring at a house. You're staring at a Nest camera, like a house, a baby camera for hours. You're sitting there. And the way they advertised it is they got people to jump, and they filmed it in theaters.
Yeah.
Like at the screenings of people jumping in probably the last 5 minutes, because that's the only time I can imagine.
That's the only time it would make sense.
Exactly. So you
Yeah.
just record a bunch of people in different theaters doing that. You chop it up into a trailer, and then they said this scariest movie of all time, like scarier than any. The Exorcist doesn't have nothing on this, and I'm sure they meant by context, Exorcist at the time,
Right.
Had people running out of theaters, stuff like that. Now it's a comedy, you know what I mean?
Hey man, but back then they could back that up. Back then,
yeah, they could, yeah, and people were terrified of that kind of stuff. So, it makes sense, and I feel like that was this. They were like, oh my god, it's so scary. Look at the
popcorn's in the air.
Popcorn in the air. People just not caring, just so scared, terrified. They can't see the whole movie, and they're interviewing people, and they're like, oh my god, I can't say blah, 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 blah.
Shaking during the interview.
Yeah, and then so me and my homie, who are horror fans, me and my roommate.
No.
We're living together, and we're sitting there and we're watching TV, and we saw the trailer for it, the commercial, and we look at each other like, what did you see that? Oh my god. Opening day, we're like, oh, because we love horror, so we sit there, we watch these horror movies. So we go opening day, we sit there, and we're already kind of like harsh, you know what I mean? We're
Absolutely,
harsh.
yeah.
So already, just in general, we're gonna like poop on this movie if it's not good. We know that about ourselves. We know we're self-aware about that. And my homie even more so. He's one of those guys that you can't even go to dinner with, like, because everything is a problem, and I had to start going to dinner with him because they're probably spitting our food because everything is he's complaining about everything. He's like that. So I'm like, man, this movie's gonna please us. It's gonna really mean it's good if it's pleasing this guy. You know what I mean? Complainer over here, not impressed. And so we're sitting there, and we're like, so excited. We're opening day. We got our food. We're ready. We're enhanced for the film, and we're good. And 5 minutes in, I want to say 10 minutes in. 10 minutes in. We look at each other, and how could we have known? But we did. But we did know. That's the thing. We did know. But anyways, it was 5 minutes, 10 minutes in, and we both look at each other kind of at the same time. Like, we look at each other like, should we go? And then we even worked it out. Like, we can't be right. We can't know it's going to be this bad 5-10 minutes into the movie. We can't. It's going to get better. We're just being too harsh, and we already paid, but we could get our money back. No. Let's say we saw the movie. Let's say, even if it's bad, it can't be that bad, right?
Yeah.
It can't be that bad. And so then we sit there, and we're sitting there, and we're just sitting there. That's it. That's the movie. The movie Paranormal Activity. If you haven't seen it, spoiler, nothing happens. That's nothing the spoiler. Happens. I spoiled it for you. You're sitting there, and you're staring at a living room for 2 hours, and then some demon comes out at the end, like, rah, and then runs out of the house, and that's it. That's the end of the movie.
Runs out of the house.
And then they just run out of the house, and they're done, and that was it. And we were so mad, and like, it's cool. Not every movie has to be amazing, but you're advertising it as the best movie of all time. I mean, again, marketing did their job.
Oh yeah, they did.
The movie, the writers didn't do their job, but the marketers marketed with having that source, having that content. Woo, they really put a lot of people in the seats,
as that series went on, they went, because the first movie, it didn't cost anything, really not much. And then they added to the budget over time. And it felt like they were doing less and less, and they were adding effects. They were adding new characters. They had this one movie where they put a camera on a fan, like the characters put a camera on a fan so it can, monitor during the night because they're scared of ghosts. And you're imagining something's going to happen with this camera, like, oh, maybe a demon's going to show up or something. But nothing happens.
Nothing.
Like, what? And that was a movie. Paranormal Activity was the movie to really push the found footage genre of horror, of film in general. But like, that was the movie that was like the standard bearer. I know a lot of people like, oh, Cloverfield, and I love Cloverfield, but Paranormal Activity was really the one,
I think what you mean, or not what you mean. I'm not putting words in your mouth, but I think it's what made its resurgence. I mean, obviously Blair Witch.
Yeah,
Blair
it
Witch.
was around, but like
Yeah,
really turning it into a market
yeah,
of
it was that.
film,
Yeah,
like a business. That's
yeah,
the one that really did it,
I
you know.
agree. I
And
agree.
then it's sad because it now from that point it stopped being looked at as a creative way of telling a story and just a cheap horror film that got Daniel's money, you know.
Yeah. It just put me in the seats, and we almost got our money back. That's what pissed us off so much, is that we almost were like, "Hey, let's go, let's get out of here and get our money,"
Yeah,
and we didn't. That's really what pissed us off, is that we could have done without that film.
you were too scared, dude.
I'm
In
glad
your
I saw
seats.
it because it is making the claim of scariest movie of all time. So I'm glad I saw it now and said, okay, I saw it. It's not the greatest movie of all time. I'd rather see a movie than not see a movie anyways,
Yeah.
just to have it in my brain and know I saw it. But so, I'm not too disappointed, but man, no, not scariest movie of all, not scary at all. Yeah, I've seen scarier real estate videos, like where you're
Yeah.
just walking through a house, a walkthrough, and
More
it's just
frightening security footage.
episodes of Hoarders is scarier.
Yeah, that is scary. Dude, wouldn't that be a great setting for one of those movies? A hoarders dealing with a ghost. That series is the definition of unmarked potential. You
Yeah.
have all these shows like Ghost Adventures.
Mhm.
Apply that to actually because those shows are full of crap.
Oh yeah,
Like
completely.
do it for realsies with
Mhm.
the freaking paranormal. But then I heard Angel actually tell me one time that the marked ones was a
Mhm.
good one where it's set in the hood.
Yeah, I saw that, and no,
Oh no.
he's wrong.
Let's get
No,
the
it wasn't.
gangs together to beat this ghost.
The thing is, it's the best Paranormal Activity.
Hmm.
So, like, who cares? Like, that's what I'm saying, because it actually is a movie. So
Right,
yeah, by default, it's the best Paranormal Activity by far, actually. But like,
right.
but what? It's competing against just
Nothing.
nothing. Yeah, against nothing. It's
Nothing.
literally competing against nothing. So,
Some
but yeah.
chick standing at a bed.
So you're not a believer, huh?
Of what? Of those ghost? Of those reality shows?
Not of the reality shows, of ghosts in general, or yeah, I guess that's a different
Um,
question, right?
I don't know, dude. I mean, I actually watched one of your podcasts
Oh
recent
no.
from the past couple months where you were talking about. Actually, I was dying laughing while watching it. You were talking to Saga
Uh,
about like why would you go to a haunted house unarmed? Like bring a
it's
gun.
yeah.
And I was like, but what you said actually I thought was a really good point. It's like don't go in expecting it to be real. Go in preparing for it to be real. You know what I
Right,
mean? It's
right,
something. It's like when dealing with a gun, you treat
mhm,
every gun like it's loaded, even though you know it's not. Right?
exactly,
So
exactly.
I don't believe those shows. I feel like
Yeah,
they're more
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah,
Zach Baggins. Like what?
yeah, right,
Hobbit
right,
as.
right. Or the
Um,
Long Island Medium. That it's just come on.
yeah, I'm honestly I'm expecting them to cross over with the Impractical Jokers at one point.
You probably have already.
Yeah, let's go to New Jersey. My mom and I used
You-
to watch the Ghost Adventures, and there's
Oh,
this one there's this one episode because they go to different places.
right, right,
They
right.
went to Savannah. And there was this one part where they met up with a tour guide of the haunted place. And the guy was acting his ass off for the camera. The tour guide was acting his ass off. It's like, hey man, we're really dealing with some stuff all over the country, haunted stuff. It's like, oh, it ain't like this. This is Savannah, son.
Ah!
It's just like, okay, dude.
Oh my goodness. No, but that to my point, I don't believe in that stuff really. But if the thing is, if even if I did or I didn't, it is a trip to me. Like I was saying in the podcast, it's a trip to me that you're going in the middle of this nowhere,
Right,
expecting and actually hoping for danger
right.
that
You
you
are
can catch on camera, and you are not on, like, no bat, no nothing. And I'm not saying that you can hit a ghost, but how do you not know? You don't know. Maybe you can hit a ghost. You know what I mean? You have no, how many ghosts have you like kicked it with? You know? So why not go armed? You know what I mean?
What if
Because
there's a possession?
what if there's a possession? What if you can't actually hit ghosts? You know, you have no idea. You can't tell me that you know for sure because no
You're
one
like
knows.
Korg, dude. You're like Korg. Piss off, ghost.
It's just, and not even like that, but what if there's people living in the abandoned place that you're in and they come at you all crazy? I'm not saying shoot them, but you know, or what if there's a bear or a pack of wolves living in the middle of nowhere? How are you not armed? It's crazy.
Right.
And then the other thing that gets me is that I feel that people or ghost hunters everywhere, listen to this. When I say like take a gun on these trips, I'm not really saying take a gun to use the gun. It's more of the feeling that the gun gives you. So I'm not saying that you're not going to get scared if you see a freaking, you know, a Jason come in at you or a Freddy or something, you know, you see some ghost coming up, the Babadook or something. Yeah, you're going to run. You're going to freak out. But the thing is, I see a lot of these ghost adventures and sometimes they'll kind of catch something at its, I mean, it's still nothing. It's still not proof.
Yeah.
But at their most closest level of proof, they'll catch something. And then at that moment, it terrifies them so much that that's the moment to get the proof. But they're so scared that they run away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that gun, I feel like if you had a gun, not that you're not going to run, but it'll give you that extra maybe minute or 30 seconds to feel at least like, I feel confident that if something does come at me, it's going to take a bullet. So let me catch that again. Let me get that again. And so then you're going to really catch it on footage and then be like, all right. But these guys, sometimes it's like you get those things like a lot of doors moving and stuff.
Right.
And then they turn around and it's like a black, like maybe a shadow. And then, and then they run out. And I was like, no, run to it. No, that's the proof.
Yeah.
Go to the door. It was just a shadow.
That's what you're here for.
Yeah, that's what you're here for. You're there to catch the ghost. You saw something in the room. Go to the room. What? I don't get it. You came all the way out here. You hear it in the room. And then you don't go in the room, but that you found it. You found the thing. And so it kind of defeats the purpose to run away. You know, sometimes you get those guys that do run forward and they're so awesome. Normally, because I go down, even though I don't believe, it's still cool and interesting seeing how people freak out and seeing all the interesting places and all this stuff. But I feel like in the Middle East, like those ghost hunters from the Middle East, they run towards the ghost, like or whatever. It'll be a door slamming and they run to it, you know. They'll be like, oh yeah, and then they open the door and then they're like, what the heck, and there's nothing there, you know. But they run to it to show you that there's nothing there. Like they don't like, I heard something, let's go.
Yeah,
the whole point. What?
Like, where are you going, dude?
You were gonna be scared? Like, what?
Come on now.
It's just crazy.
That's so scarier than the question, you know? What movie?
Sorry, rant's over.
No, it's all good.
I just feel like we would get proof if ghost hunters, you know, were armed.
If they were hunters.
If they were actual hunters.
If they were hunters. Joe Rogan should do that.
Let's go.
Hunt ghosts.